Well, we're back again with another Five Stars podcast looking at all things Rangers. Unfortunately, we wish the picture was a wee bit more rosy. As things stand, we've got a real job in our hands to even finish second in this season's Premier League table. We're with the legends Barry Ferguson and Ian Durrant. We'll look back on the events of Tynecastle. We'll look ahead to a visit to Celtic Park, and we'll also perhaps think about the bigger picture and what it means to Rangers as a football club on the European stage, and then perhaps even look to next season, what may be required to get that next stage of improvement. Looking back to Tynecastle, it was some environment, a hostile environment. The Hearts fans in full voice. Rangers managed to silence them, got a goal in front. Half time for me came at the wrong time, but we had to maintain that intensity into the second 45, and somehow or another we packed the tools away and paid the ultimate price with a 2-1 defeat from a commanding 1-0 success at half time. Ian, it was such a disappointment, but I think we're getting a wee bit used to this. You know, expectation is so high, but you know, when the chips are down, we've really suffered expectation being extinguished by performances on the park.
Oh, we just can't seem to string 90 minutes together. It's either a poor first half and a great second half, or a really good first half and then a poor second half. We'd done the job first half. We soaked up the pressure. Now we knew now speaking to Barry, obviously yourself, we knew what Hearts were going to give us, so we soaked it up. Then all of a sudden we're 10, 15 years deep in the start of the second half, inviting pressure on you, not stopping crosses, and so I was disappointed now, just for everybody last night. What could have been. Now you look at the fixtures, we had a home game against Motherwell, disappointment. Then we got now a game against Hearts, now top of the league, and we on the first half now we merited now going ahead, but remember got that second goal. Then you seen the sort of pressure, and I think it got to a few players, and we never handled it because we knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. It was going to have a goal at half time. He made a change. He went to a 3 at the back. Then all of a sudden now we lost our shape, now our regression, now getting the ball forward, and it was disappointing, and it was a bit of a damp squid when you think now. I know it's mathematically it's not impossible, but it was a bit of a damp squid the way we went out in the second half.
Yeah, Barry, Hearts were quite extravagant, starting with two wingers. Mm-hmm. We got the better of them in that shape, but we didn't accommodate the change, or down the road was slightly slow to embrace the necessity to change with the introduction of Blair Spittle.
Looking at the game, the first 10 minutes it was edgy. We gained a bit of control. We were fine in the first half. We get the first goal, you're wanting the second, you don't get it. You go in at half time, as you rightly says, it comes at the wrong time for us, but listen, that's football. You've got to have half time. But there shouldn't be any surprises. You know Derek McInnes is going to go right through them. He's going to change. He went back to his favoured 3 at the back. He brought an extra midfielder on in Blair Spittle, and it looked to me if we really struggled with that. And Hearts get their back up. They put a bit of pressure on Rangers, and when they got the equaliser from Kingsley, I thought it affected us big time, if I'm being brutally honest with you, which was a surprise, because as you mentioned, you're going to Tynecastle, you know what the atmosphere is going to be. As a footballer, you've got to cope with the situations, and I just didn't think we coped with the situations in the second half, and it is a worrying thing that we can only do it for either the first half or the second half. You've got to have a level of consistency, and that's what's been our downfall the last two games, certainly.
Even beyond the two games, Barry, defensively we've been shipping more goals than we did at the turn of the year type thing, when I think we'd only lost 7 goals in 12 games, and we've lost something like 18 in the last 6 or 7.
Yeah, listen, it's important that you try and keep as many clean sheets as you can, but if you do concede out a goal, you shouldn't let it affect you. I feel it affects this Rangers team, which would be a concern for the manager, because as I said, I was pretty comfortable, but knowing what was going to happen in the second half, you have to be prepared for that. And that's what surprised me. I don't think we were. And when Hearts get the equaliser, as I said, I thought it affected a lot of the players, and it just drove Hearts on, and they obviously get the second goal and see the game out, and we didn't really put them under too much pressure, because we made a lot of substitutions. We had the 3 big boys on up top. Miovski Nadiri alongside Chermiti. I don't think we get enough balls forward as quickly as possible, because if you don't win the first ball, try and win the second ball, try and put them under a bit of pressure, make them defend, and I don't think we've done that enough.
I think Barry's identified a great point there, Ian. We didn't work as goalkeeper. I can think of only one save. He came out and flapped at one that Asgard headed back against the crossbar, but we didn't ask any questions of the defence.
Not at all. And I thought now with Sterling's goal, I thought he looked a bit, as you say, flapping at it as well. Now, if it took a wee deflection, but we never test him at all. And they just show now the one that comes off the bar, you're maybe expecting it to fall to range, but it falls there. The reaction of Asgard, it kept him so quick. But you're spot on. When we were on top in the first half, that's when you need to now. And me being now the Rangers now with the blue tinted glass on, we had to get that second goal. And as you said, rightly said, now half time came, then 1-0. It's for us. It's not. There's no safety net there, and but just disappointing now the way they went about their business. And that's the one. It's
is that game management then, Ian?
No game management. I think the players know the responsibility now. It's Barry talked about a few weeks ago. Now you've just got to empty your tank, and if you're brutally honest, did we empty our tank second half? I think we just invited pressure on us, and then over the piece now. When we've invited pressure in, we've either lost a game or drew the game. Now within, if I was looking at a couple of stats today before we come on, and now the games and winning positions, we've either lost or drawn this year. And then when you weigh up the 8 points, now you're about 3 or 4 points ahead in the league. And now it's 2-0 against Celtic, 1-0 against Motherwell. Now we lose tomorrow. Now we've drew with Falkirk, we've drew with Hibs. It's that's the worrying thing. And being in such good positions and now playing on the front foot. Now and then with a sort of capitulation now within the ranks of the team. And that now that Barry said that'll be worrying for the manager now, where you are and how well you can play. Now the first 45 minutes against Celtic without going back and over the rabbit, now they were fantastic. And then second half now it's like two different teams, and it looked like that last night again.
See, the way I look at it, you do the hard part in getting these points back, and it's even harder after that. But you don't let it go. You've worked ever so hard to gain the points back, and that's the thing that's disappointing. Everybody connected with Rangers, and certainly over the last couple of games. Look, I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty flat. I'm sure you two are pretty flat as well, because I had expectations of going there and knowing it's a difficult place, but you have to earn the right to win a game of football, and I don't think we've done enough, certainly in the second half.
I think with the personality get us over the line in the second half. Shut up shop, perhaps not the traditional Rangers way, but you have to think back, there were occasions when you needs must. For me, it would be in withdrawal Skov Olsen. You can switch Sterling to wide right midfield, just give you a bit of steel and extra defensive support ahead of that. But he left it too late to go gung-ho, and by then we had no game plan, we had no shape, and as Barry said, over the piece we probably didn't do enough to win the match.
No, you go 2-1 behind, then we huffed and puffed. We got the ball forward, yes, but we never threatened, and that was the thing. Now with the amount of talent you see now, as Barry said, now we had the three big guns up front, and then when you're putting three people out up front now, there's got to be a bit of ammunition, there's got to be things in the box, or try something, do something, but we seem to just now again neglect our duties, and that was now. It was a bit of a tragedy last night. Now after getting so far and getting back into the title race, and as I said, now you look at the fixtures, they're hard games. But we start off a home game, you get 3 points there, it never happened. And then all of a sudden you're behind everybody, and it's going to be another tough one come Sunday, because they've got to now go there, and it's all about pride. As I said,
the areas of concern you can't work on the training ground.
You can't. Now the players have realised now,
and
that'll be a major dent to them. And now the players, but they've within the manager and the coaches, this is they're in their corner now. Now they've got to go and now get them going again. Going to Parkhead. Now they're up there. Now they'll be after Hearts, and Rangers are still, as I said, we've still got 9 points to play for. I can't see us doing it, but there's other positions you can finish in. Now the European we can finish, and hopefully maybe the Champions League qualifier, but again, a lot to play for, a lot of personal pride, and the Rangers will need to dig deep on Sunday.
There was a king's ransom up for grabs. to win the title. 40 million straight into the Champions League proper. Now we're, somewhere between the Europa League and the Conference League, depending what happens elsewhere. But take nothing away from Derek McInnes, the job he's done in his first season at Tynecastle. 5 wins against the Old Firm this season. It's the first time that's happened in domestic league football in Scotland since Sir Alex Ferguson at Aberdeen. So we've got to give a bit of credit to Hearts and Derek McInnes.
Yeah, listen, he's done a fantastic job. There's no doubt about it. Look, on the eye, they're not pretty in the eye.
Yeah.
Hearts, and I think Derek will admit that, but what they are is they're very well organised and they're good at what they do, and they stick to that. And they've shown the last couple of games, should I say, going a goal behind and coming back twice. So you've got to give them credit where credit's due. But watching the first half, I just felt after the first 15 minutes when the game started to settle, we started to gain territory, and then we get the goal, and then I thought Hearts were rocking at that stage. They were struggling, but we just didn't take advantage of it. But sometimes you don't take advantage of it and you go in still happy enough with 1-0 up. It's just the flip on the team in terms of how they changed the approach was concerning, because as I says, you're not going to be surprised. I don't think anybody was surprised what Hearts team came out in the second half, because they would have got a kick up the backside, and you just had to stand strong against that, and unfortunately we never stood strong, and we conceded 2 goals which were poor from our point of view. It was a sucker punch last night. It was a sore one to take, albeit last week was sore against Motherwell, but that was worse last night. There's no doubt about it.
Ian Barry used a line there which intrigues me about Hearts not being pretty or easy on the eye. Both of you guys playing under the likes of Walter Smith must have experienced fixtures, matches when you were in front and Walter insisted you weren't easy on the eye, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I remember as well when you're under Walter, I'm sure Barry alluded to this now, we only had 2 subs, so you weren't playing well all the time, but what we had now, I hate using the words, we had a bit of resilience about us now, and you touched on it, game management. Now, we weren't pretty all the time, but we know how to win games, and we had players now, you had Gascoigne and McCoy, still Laudrup, something what Hearts have got, they've got Barga and Shankland.
Yeah.
Now players that can
Talisman.
Yeah, but they might now they're grinding out results, but they'll get a half chance. It's a goal. We had similar players to that, Big George Alberts, but we had a bit about us. I'm not having a go at this Rangers team, but now we knew what we had to do now, and it's we've spoke about it. It's now it's as if you're letting a family down now, the fans and everything. Now the club. Now that's the thing. Now they'll be gutted, and as I said, now we started the season very poorly, got in at a great position to the manager and the players, and then all of a sudden it's just we're off the side of the cliff now in terms of trying to get something out of this now. Last 3 games.
It's the way to take us to the well, isn't it?
Just on that, there's actually a number of games, a lot of games that I played with for Rangers, whether it was under Advocate, McLeish or Walter Smith, that I came in after a game and thought, Jesus, that wasn't great at all. But you know what? I found a way to win.
Yeah,
even if we were poor, whether it was 1-0 or we come in, we won the game 2-1 or 3-2, whatever, we knew how to see out a game. Yeah. And you had to dig deep, and it wasn't pretty in the eye, and I'm sure the fans didn't enjoy watching it. But you know what? We've done the most important thing. Yeah. We found a way to get the 3 points, and that's what we need. This is what needs to happen with this Rangers team. When you're not playing at the top of your game, because you can't play perfectly all the time. It's when you've got to figure out yourself when you're not at it or at the standards that you think you should be at. Then you need to realise that you need to be a
take
certain
ownership
way during a game and see it out. Trying to use that game management. When you're not playing well, make sure you're compact, you're solid, you're organised, because we're not getting beat here. Yeah. Even if you don't win the game, you still come away for a point. It's like last week against Motherwell, we lose a goal at the end. It wouldn't have been the worst result against Motherwell. Listen, you come away liking your wins, that's not great, but you know what, it's still a point on the board.
Yeah. Well, we're all frustrated here, but thanks for joining us in the 5 Stars podcast in conjunction with Stealth Competitions. Ian mentioned some absolute legends there in the form of Brian Laudrup and George Alberts, Paul Gascoigne, all of whom are part of the Five Stars family. If you go on the Five Stars YouTube, there's a terrific interview with Paul Gascoigne where there was no holds barred, and even if I say so myself, it was great to chat to him on that occasion. Coming up round the corner later this week are George Alberts and Brian Laudrup themselves with a double header in Glasgow, special Five Stars events, and no doubt we'll get their take on where we are with Rangers just now. But as we look ahead to the weekend and a trip to Celtic Park, Barry, Ian, Gascoigne, Laudrup, Alberts, I can't think of 5 better Rangers players of the past who got the job done regularly at Celtic Park. Barry, how do we go about our business come Sunday?
Well, I'm not buying into that it's a dead rubber, but we've not got a chance. But you're coming out against your fiercest rivals. I don't care what's happening. You have to go there and make sure you.
Pounds at stake as well if you finish second.
Exactly. If you're not going to finish first, which we all want, and it looked at a stage where we could possibly do that. You know, you want to be finishing second, and you're going to Celtic, and you want to put a dent into their title hopes as well. So, all for leather. You go on Sunday and you compete not just for 45 minutes, you compete for 90 odd minutes, and you come away from there with something at least, and hopefully it's going to be 3 points, because again they never played well against Hibs. I watched that game, but they found a way.
Yeah,
we need to be like that when we travel to Celtic Park. You know it's going to be full to the gunnels. At least we're going to have our 2,500 fans in, which is brilliant. So you need to go and put a performance on, personally, collectively, and for the most important people, the supporters as well.
Pride as well.
I said that there's a lot of pride at stake here now. These games are never dead rubber. They're never. Now these are the games, and as I say, we're still clinging on, and you touched on it, finishing second, but just try and finish in a high.
Yeah.
Now the next 3 games, go out, give it your all, but it starts on Sunday. Now we need to go there and get our working gear on. Now we need to outwork Celtic. Celtic will come after us. They'll see Rangers as a wounded animal, but when you're a wounded animal, you're dangerous. So Rangers have got to be on the ball. Darry took us there, and then Danny's took us there. We won there last now twice, so let's go and do it again and keep that going. Now it's amazing now what a pick-up could be, especially if you beat Celtic.
I don't want to see this petering out a bit as well. You know what I mean? You're still playing for Glasgow Rangers. You've still got 3 games. Let's go and set a target now. Let's go for 9 points. We have to, as I said, because you never know. Listen, it's going to be really difficult. Let's be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and say otherwise. But you know what? You need to go and you need to make sure you start next Sunday against your better rivals, and make sure you put a show on, and you do everything you can to try and get the 3 points. For
a fleeting moment this morning, I thought, is it time to bring a couple of the youngsters into the squad to integrate them into this reality of going into an old firm environment? But no, we can't afford to do that, despite the fact we're in for wholesale changes, loan players leaving the club, loan players out at the club coming back, and undoubtedly the transfer market is going to be awash with the club looking to improve quality in almost every department. The youth is the way forward, but not in this final stages of the season.
You like to think so, because we've sent Scally and obviously Kyle Glasgow signing there, but where we finish this season is so important, because we could probably, if you're talking Europa Cup conference, we could be back pre-season while the World Cup's still on, so your recruitment could be maybe a month behind in terms of trying to get players in. So you might have to rely on, now you'll maybe see a Finlay Curtis coming back. Now he's doing really well at Kilmarnock now, and they might get pushed on faster than they maybe anticipated. But I'm played at a young age, but so did Barry. If you're good enough, you'll get a chance. Just make sure, if you're a kid at Ibrox just now and you're watching what's going on, just make sure you're there and you're ready if you're called upon, because you never know. And as I said, now that trying to juggle everything now with the players going away back to their parent clubs, and obviously try to get a lot of players in to get in, because you're right in right away in Europe, and it's that's the one. Now are you going to be ready? But you'll need to be ready, because pre-season the things in place, but it might all change dramatically where you finish this year.
Yeah, the under-17s won their league just last week, so delighted for them along the way. So it's good to hear that we've got some talent emerging. Pre-season is one that intrigues me there with that one, with the World Cup. Is that going to be more of an interruption to the plans, do you think, Barry?
It could be, because we're obviously going to have some players who are contracted that are going to be at the World Cup, and also I would like to think that the recruitment's on spot and you already have identified who you want to bring in. So it could be, but you can't use that as an excuse. It's not just Rangers, it's for every club that's going to be the scenario. So yeah, I think it's going to be a busy summer window for Rangers. As you mentioned, a lot of loan players will go back. Whether they come back, who knows. And there's guys out of contract. There's guys coming back who are out on loan as well. Guys like Danilo and Cortez. What's going to be happening with them? So I think a lot of people's going on about other clubs. I think it's going to have to be a busy summer for Rangers as well.
Yeah, put you on the spot a wee bit here. Forgetting the fact he's your nephew. If Lewis Ferguson was available at the right price,
Don't get him.
would you build your team around him? Forget the fact he's your nephew, just for the qualities that Lewis brings to any football team.
Me, a lot of people say I'm biased. Of course, it's not been the season that he's probably wanted in Bologna. He's
injured as well.
He's been in and out of the team, which is surprising. But listen, I think he'll probably look to move at some stage. And why would you not be interested in a player who has quality? It depends on the price, really. But let's be honest with you. I don't know what figure Bologna would be looking for, but look, I think there'll be a number of teams interested in Lewis.
We have to show interest in Scottish talent. Ian's the bottom line here.
I think it's quite alarming. No, we're not alarming. That's just the modern football now. But we've not got a lot of Scotsmen in the team. When I played, the team was littered with Scotsmen now, and we always used to pick up the good Scottish players. Now we've got the wee boy at Aberdeen and obviously Finlay, and now young wee Barons not struggling to get a game just now, and Suter's injured now. Associate now, they know the club, but it's spot on. And if we could get a Lewis Ferguson in there, that would put a statement down. Not you're getting quality, but you're getting a boy who knows what the club's all about. And I hate going on about it, but I think it's been a dying breed in the last few years, having that bit of thing to know all of the club. We've spoke to the chairman many a time about the DNA of the club, and now we need more people are Rangers orientated. And with Jim Gillespie coming in now, Rangers boy, Fraser Thornton now good, so you can see things happening. But like me being who I am, I want to see things happen quicker.
Surely.
And I think now we're missing a wee trick there, and I think we should be identifying players that know what the club's all about.
It's so important. It's so important. I'm not saying the team has to be littered with Scottish players, but you need to have an identity, people who understand the club, who know the Scottish game. And I'm watching the game last night, the starting lineup, and there's not one Scottish player in the starting 11. Now I get it, but you want to see at least one or two.
I think Hearts had 5.
You want to see,
and
there is,
subs.
And I don't care what MD says, and I'll argue with a lot of people. There's players that are good enough to play with Rangers, that have played in our leagues, that we've missed out on before, where we shouldn't have, and also there's still players in the Scottish game that could do a job for Rangers.
Is it this image that people perceive players from out with Scotland to be of a higher quality than homegrown talent that work hard?
Scottish boys have got as much quality as anybody, and now their qualities might be defined in a different way in terms of now the skill set, but the quality in terms of winning, having that. Now we keep talking about aggression. Now that it's not aggression; it's running about. Make sure if you're up against somebody, you're stopping them playing. Graham Souness was a perfect example. Now, three simple things: enjoy the game, gentlemen. Win your individual battles and win, and then walk through. That was his team talk. Now people.
It was his birthday today or yesterday, wasn't it?
Yesterday, and you had players like now Souness, myself and Derek were playing beside him. David Cooper, McCoy, now Stuart Monroe, McPherson. Now Scottish boys, and they all come through. But they knew what they had to do, and they knew the pitfalls of playing for Rangers was win every time.
I think after that,
we're talking about there about players at other teams, but also we need to be producing our own players as well. We have to be bringing at least one or two per season through.
We mentioned Finlay Curtis having a terrific spell at
scored again at the weekend.
Paul Nseo has swept the boards.
I watched them. I watched them last week against
Ross County.
Ross County. and he was really good. I think he's only been out for 6 months. I think players like that need this is good for their development, getting them out and playing at a real good level, a physical level. Now I think maybe they might look to loan
Kilmarnock potentially
again. And I think it's important that these boys do go out and experience proper football first and foremost, so then when they come back they're ready hopefully to get into our first team. But for the size of the academy we've got, we need to be producing our own players, because there is a lot of investment that goes into it, and we have got good quality. It's just making sure we manage them properly for them to come into our first team. And it's an area where I come through, Durrant come through, and there's nothing better than seeing the homegrown guys come right through the academy into the first team. There's nothing better. I think if you ask any supporter, they'll agree with that. But we just don't see enough of it, which is frustrating.
Potentially McCallion on the list as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had them up last year. He was only 16, but it's good to give him that experience and among senior pros. And listen, he handled his own. I mean, he doesn't look the biggest.
Boy you pointed at training? He was
ginger.
He told me, he goes, watch out, he was wired in.
No, I loved about him. Come up very well mannered and all that. Just changed as soon as the whistle went. It was like we devil in the middle of the pitch, and it's about helping these boys and developing these boys, because as I said, there's nothing better than seeing young players coming through, and we have got the quality. It's how do we
get the experience?
How do we get them ready to be coming into our first team?
I imagine come pre-season, whatever happens, whichever way this season swings, that, and whoever's the manager, Daniel Roll is the boss just now, he's going to want to know more about these boys that have been on loan, and the pre-season will give him an opportunity to work with them to see if they're ready.
See another thing with the young players, I'm sure Durrant will agree. Listen, it's good to have an ability, but it takes a lot more than that to play with Rangers. You need a bit of personality, you need to have a strong mindset, and it's not just about working on the training ground. You need to be talking to these young players and getting them to understand what it means and how it feels to actually be in that environment, because you're under pressure 24/7. A lot of people can't handle it. So it's about helping the young players, because as I said, we've got Scally, we've got Glasgow, these are the boys everybody's talking about. Let's work with these players and let's try and
make them better.
Make them better, not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well, to get them to understand. And hopefully over the coming years we're going to see a right few burst onto the scene. What
would constitute a good pre-season mean for a player?
Catch a manager's eye, especially if you're a kid, and Barry will tell you, see, you always know kids have got a chance, because they're the ones that do extra, right? They're under the radar, but you clock them and you watch them and they want to do extra, they want to make themselves better, and we used to have them all in the youth. Make sure you're better than you were yesterday, make sure you're better every day, and catch a man's eye. Just getting a good pre-season is staying fit. Don't get injured. That's the worst thing ever, you get injured in pre-season. And then make sure now the start to the season, which we've not had for a couple of years, we need to start the game now, the season well. But pre-season is all about everything. Now you're trying to integrate a new set of players, or new things. Now hopefully, as we're talking about there, we can get the some youth players in working with the first team, and catching the manager's eye, and make sure when you're there and you're part of the pre-season, make sure you stay there. Don't fall out now. You go back. Just make sure you're there. And I said, be the best you can every day.
Going to somewhere like El Choco, like you did under Souness, how helpful was that to be in a remote location where the focus was purely football?
It's brilliant. Barry, pre-season's great. It's hard. All you do is now you train, you sleep, you eat now for 10 days, and then we were up middle of nowhere. Obviously, as I say, you're getting new players and you get to know new players, but that's where you do the hard work, and that was hard work under Graham and Walter in the mountains. But it was great. Now getting away, now you can do a bit here in Glasgow, but just getting away and the team are together, and now you're bonding, you're forming now a team which hopefully now is going to go and win you the league. And for now, we were going away at the end of the season knowing we'd won something, so some pre-season you're coming back bouncing again, because you want to be part of it again. And then you want to keep that winning mentality going. Now if you look at this season, this will be a long pre-season for the boys now, and it'll be one now where there'll be a lot of uncertainty, as you say now, players going, maybe players now getting sold and players coming in. So it's a juggling act in terms of how you're going to be. But they're going to make sure they have to make sure they're on the button come pre-season.
Best pre-seasons are the ones that you can't walk.
Stands you in good stead later.
Listen, the pre-season builds you up for the full season. So Durrant made a good point. Key is to stay fit and make sure you're at every session. But it's got to be tough. You've got to be walking off the training pitches absolute shattered, and that's the way because you do double sessions. The best pre-seasons were like that for me, and also we used to do altitude training as well. We used to go to it was Austria, up high. El Choco was the same. It's tough, but that's what it's all about. It's got to be tough because that builds you up, getting into trying to be successful for the season ahead.
And it stands you in good stead for the latter stages of the season.
Exactly.
Graham, and I'm sure about under Dick, that's what he said now. See, when the game gets to 70 minutes, that bit extra you're doing and that hard work you're doing, that wins you games. And it's great. Now you come in and it's not just you're the only one that's stiff and sore. Everybody's stiff and sore. I used to see on Big Derek Jones get wheeled in the morning, honestly. But that's what you had to do.
And also during the season as well, you've got to put a couple of tough sessions on where they're breathing out their backsides, because that's what you to be successful. You've got to have good players. I get that, but I want to be the fittest. We want to be the fittest team, because come the last 10-15 minutes, I want to be running all the top of people.
Of course, right now as we speak, Danny Rule, his backroom staff and the medical staff, the sports scientists, they'll be mapping out a pre-season if it's not already been done.
I'll be mapping it myself.
Would you?
I would know what I would want.
Would you call that? You would then delegate parts of that to the staff?
You've got to work hard. Pre-season, that builds you up, as I said to you, for the rest of the season. So I would know, because I've had so many tough pre-seasons. I mean, I've had some ridiculous ones that are so tough that Durrant is right. All you do is train, eat, sleep. Train, eat, sleep.
Don't see a ball?
You see in your sleep.
No, you see a ball. It's alright to have a ball the first day. I'm fine with that, but also you've got to put the hard graft. You've got to put the yards in. I'm a big believer in that. Football never changes. Never changes. You can have all this stuff people talk about, sports science and all the other stuff, which helps, but also you know what you need as a player. You know what you need as a team. And for me, I think if you're the fittest team, you are one of the fittest teams about, you've got a right good chance.
You're one step ahead.
Yep.
It's the 5 Star Podcast, talking all things Rangers in conjunction with Stealth Competitions. Get yourself across to their website. There's always something certainly worth winning. And if you hold on a wee bit later today, you'll get some news on the latest prizes to be won in a Rangers connection on Stealth Competitions. I'm just looking at the sort of recent fixtures. 5:30 on a Monday night at Tynecastle. We now have a 12 high noon kick-off at Celtic Park, and then it's an 8 o'clock kick-off against Hibernian at Ibrox. Each one probably needs a slight tweak to preparation, Barry, from your management experience. But I'm also intrigued, how does that go with your pre-match meal? Pasta at 9 o'clock in the morning, or pasta at 3 o'clock, or whatever?
No, you just change. Like guys will just have a wee bit of toast. Everybody's different. Obviously you're not going to eat pasta, etc., chicken and all that in the first thing in the morning. You have porridge, guys have toast and banana. It changes. And then obviously the later kick-offs, but I don't buy into strange times, 12, 5:30. I couldn't care less when the games are. You prepare, you're professional, you prepare in the right manner, you know the times that you have to eat, you know what you're going to eat, so there's no excuses.
It's just in such a short period of 9 days, your dietary requirements are up and down like a fiddler's elbow.
Well, mine's never changed. I had toast and beans before every game, so that doesn't matter what it was. 3 slices of toast and some beans, and a couple of cups of tea, and that was me.
You have some sauce on?
No, just plain toast and beans, a couple of cups of tea, and then gearing up. Then Barry's spot on. It doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock. Now we all love to 3 o'clock kick-off, so it's 12 o'clock. You're still in the same routine. Now you're still do your pre-match in terms of now with your kit, your stuff, your training. So
Were you
Type-
superstitious, Ian?
No,
I know
never.
players who, if they got the right result, would wear the same get up to go
No,
to the
I
game
used
the
to
next
watch
week.
Ian Ferguson. I used to piss myself, honestly. He'd put his right shin guard on and something else, and I'm going, just put it on, man. Oh, you got a John Brown. Bomber was ready about 1 o'clock. He'd different shin pads, tape on, boots on, sitting there at 1 o'clock. And you've got 2 hours, and then you've got McCoy. He doesn't even get his shirt and tie off half an hour before the game. And it's different. Players go about, but the times are relevant now. You just want to make sure you're prepared. The manager names the team. Then you go and do about your business. You set up all the stuff. You go out, and then you're ready for the game.
Barry, pre-season, you've touched on. Pre-match, Grub, what was your favourite?
Well, if it was in the morning, if it was a 12 o'clock kick-off, it'd just be a bit of toast, butter and jam, and a banana and a cup of tea, and that was me ready to rock. If it was 3 o'clock, a wee bit of pasta, a bit of beans and toast. Wasn't allowed that right enough under Paul Le Guin.
Along
And
with the
then at
quavers.
night it would just be no Monster Munch.
Monster Munch it was.
And at night it would be practically the same. If it was just a noon kick-off,
Right.
it would change just to a bit of toast and jam and a banana and a cup of tea with 2 sugars, black. That's me, ready to go.
What's the strangest combination you've seen someone have as a pre-match meal?
Well, we'd remember who was it? Basil Bolly had a steak and mashed
It
potato.
doesn't really digest, does
You
it?
know, but I'm going now. He used to have a steak, and it was like blue, and just flip it. Honestly, that was a strange one. But a lot of the boys were just now, as I said, toast, porridge, and honey.
Aye.
Big Golf used to walk about a pot of honey all the time. He loved now toast and his stuff. But Basil Ball, that one, he had a Charlie Drake.
It's a strange one.
What was on now? Maybe at that time we weren't doing really early kick-offs, I remember. So he was having a steak about 12 o'clock. As you see now, the digester.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. There was some people didn't even eat. I'm sure Big Amel, for instance, would just have a couple of black coffees.
That was just enough to fire
Some
him
people would like. I like to feel full going into a game. See if I felt empty. I didn't feel I had the energy.
Right.
So I like to.
Is that psychological?
Probably 3 hours I would have my pre-match, and then probably an hour and a half I'd have a few Jaffa cakes, another banana, and then a few Jaffa cakes before I went out.
And that sweetness was to
And then
bring
at half
energy.
time I used to have jelly babies.
Yeah.
I used to have like
Yeah, well, I had that. We had just cups of tea under Big Jog, and depending if you're getting beat, that the TV be all over the place, you know. So you never get a cup of tea.
Really?
You would just volley somewhere.
Right.
And
So-
then now remember you had the Gatorade and all the power and the gels. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different way. Some guys, as I said, like their stomachs empty. Some like them full.
Well, whatever happens, let's hope the players get into this final round of fixtures. The next
What's they play
3
for?
games, find a way to win, whether it's courtesy of jelly babies or a blue steak or whatever it's got to be there. But before we go today, quick mention of Alberts and Loudrop, who are in Glasgow this week for a couple of back-to-back nights with 5 stars. If you're going along, come up and say hello. We look forward to having your company then. What players they wear in their pomp?
Ask him to stay to Sunday if you can.
Oh, listen, Loudrop was just frightening. Just the size, big guy, the way that he could carry a ball. Just I wonder a right foot. I only played with him a few times, and then Big Alberts I played with loads of times. Big Hammer, just loved him. Great big guy. Two guys who bought into the club. Let's be honest with you, they understood it and the traditions and the standards, and they were 2 unbelievable players. When is that?
Thursday and Friday of this into the second week of May. Yeah,
Right, are you doing them?
So
I am
Is that how
indeed.
you're
this week,
plugging it?
Yeah, this
Yes,
week
aye.
coming. Yeah, so
So that'll be good.
Aye.
sets the
Loud
scene.
was sensational. Now, I said now you look at the clubs he played for. And he turned around and said his most enjoyable time in football was Glasgow Rangers.
There you go.
Same as Big George. Now Munich, Leverkusen, Milan, Fiorentina,
And they both had this habit of
scoring.
scoring against Celtic in particular.
Especially George, man. George was frightening.
Yes.
And some of the goals he scored against Celtic were
The
incredible.
free kick with the outside of the left boot. That
And there was another one that I think he's actually set one up for Coisy, but he's went on Amazy. And I think the co-commentary said, Celtic have got up her hand, and then George gets the ball, goes in, goes away left. Lambert tries to tackle, takes it in, just hits this thing in the top corner, and that's just George. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then
Well-
allowed up. Now you see when you're in, see like we talk about Now we were under the cosh at Tynecastle last night. You just give Laudrup the ball for 10 minutes, then he would get you up the park and keep it. You couldn't get the ball off him.
We don't have anything like that at the moment.
They were special. But and see when.
Aye, that's a different level, Tom. Let's be honest.
But see when you think about what they paid for now. I hate now. I know I speak about it all the time. George Alberts, Brian Laudrup, and Paul Gascoigne for just over 10 million, I think, was the transfer fees.
That's awesome, isn't it?
Frightening.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely frightening.
Awesome. Yeah.
And two players that are back, no regular, but they're back at least a right few times a season to watch the club. So that tells you that what the club means to them, and it's just drew them in. It's an amazing club. It draws so many people in.
And even George came back to help John Brown when he was manager of Clyde, and came across and kept him in the division. Scored a couple of.
I think Brian Laudrup played in that game
as
well.
Too.
So did Arthur.
Yeah.
To help fund to keep players now. That's what it just shows now. The pulling now, obviously Bomber having an affection with the two of them, and then they come back away to do them a turn. And
we talk about the Rangers family. That's a prime example.
That's what it is.
Just before we go, Ian and Barry, I want to just recognise the way the fans have been behind the team this season. It's
fantastic.
Been absolutely
They're
incredible.
They're always there anyway.
You know,
you
deserve a wee bit better.
You want to give them something, but just now the last few weeks, now myself and Barry have been working now up until before the Motherwell, obviously the Hearts came. The place was jumping. The anticipation of getting into a bit where you can maybe win the league, and I just feel for them because they turn up everywhere, and again I think we had 450 last night, which obviously Hearts' season tickets, but they deserve better, and hopefully now we can get it going, because now it's been documented, there's no club without the fans and what they've had to go through and what they've done in terms of every week at Ibrox. It's a sellout. They're fantastic, and I just want to see them get now a bit of thing where they can go about, and I know they're always proud anyway, but just now make them even prouder by winning things.
A bit of joy by 2 o'clock Sunday.
I give them a bit of joy. This sums them up. It looks to me that it's going to be another trophyless season. But then I was asking the guys in at the club at the Motherwell game, because the renewals were coming out. Everybody's renewed. It just sums the Rangers fans up. Even so, it's been hard at times. They still put their money into the club. They still go and support them, whether it's at Ibrox or whether it's away abroad. They travel in their numbers, and in my opinion, I'm not. Listen, I know I'm Rangers daft, but they're the best fans. Best fans you could.
It's the quickest renewal. They were saying, it's the quickest renewal in about 10, 12 years.
98% immediately.
Unbelievable.
Because if you don't renew, then somebody else takes it. That's now the pitfalls, but they're fantastic, and they're there every week. Even when you go to the youth teams, you see the boys that turn up
same ones every
and
year.
they support the youth, and they're loving it.
Yeah, even the women's team as
well.
Well,
again, they're I was
into
speaking
the cup final.
I was at the player of the year the other night, and I was speaking to Leanne, and now she said it was a pure game. I goes, but the most semi-finals are, but you're in the final, and you've got the opportunity, and they're still fighting in the league as well with Glasgow City.
Yeah, as I say, it's not over.
Never over.
The fat lady sings. Perhaps.
Until it's mathematically possible, you still we're clinging on to a bit of hope. But last night was a sore one. The last 2 games have been. It's been a sore one to take.
Well, let's hope we get the job done at Celtic Park, and perhaps end the season on a high, and see where results can take us. Let's hope, as a minimum, it's the Europa League along the way, but ideally we'd be champions, but it's such a tall order now. Thanks for joining us in the 5 Stars podcast. Always a pleasure to have your company with Barry and Ian, and of course you can catch lots of great content, not just in the VIP site of 5 Stars, the YouTube channel as well. Get yourself across there and see where it really matters to be a Ranger. Cheers. Well, this week there's an absolutely superb opportunity to get some Rangers memorabilia on the Stealth Competitions website. Not one but 2 signed shirts from 2 Rangers legends, only George Alberts and Brian Laudrup. Stealth Competitions, place to be. 2 shirts up for grabs this week. Go on there, you know you want it.